What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel One Man's Walk. I am your host Gamal, back at you with another one. So what do we have for you today? Doing something slightly different. I don't typically do TV shows on the channel, normally music, sneakers, but this is a sub request by a friend of mine, and I wanted to get it out for him because he's been rocking with the channel for a while. So we are going to do We Own This City. I have watched all 6 episodes, just want to give my thoughts on it. But we'll do that right after this intro.
Clean your house music. You can clean too.
Welcome back. So like I stated, we are going to get into this We Own the City. But before we do that, let's get this housekeeping out the way. If you guys have not already done so, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post bell notifications so that way you don't miss any of this amazing content. As you can see behind me, one of the latest videos is up. Redman, There Is a Dark Side, one of my top 64 greatest rap albums ever. This is also a sub request. Shout out to Bad Nad for that. So feel free to check that out. What else is up on the channel? The Beyonce is up. Unfortunately, YouTube flagged me. It will flag the content, so it didn't allow me to post the entire album for whatever reason, but I did get a couple songs that they did allow up. So feel free to check that out. The Mozzie's up. And I recorded it too, and that video will play after this one, but the Maverick City Music and Kirk Franklin Kingdom 1 book deluxe edition, that will be coming next. I'm very excited about that. I'll break that up into parts, so be on the lookout for that. But as for this We Own This City, so again, my buddy Mike hit me up. I think he posted it too on the YouTube page and said, hey, he wanted a review of this. I wanted to do a sub request for him, as I want to do for all my subs. If you guys have requests, let me know. Album, music, movies, TV shows. I will try to get it up for you guys to show my support and appreciation for how you've been rocking with the channel. Now, this show had a ton of, I don't want to say high profile actors, but actors who we were familiar with and knew. Now, we knew obviously the Punisher, John Bernthal, who always plays a crazy man, right? He was Shane on The Walking Dead. Clearly he was the Punisher and was a nut on there. And he's a nut on here, right? He plays that type of role really well. Probably the nicest person in real life and absolutely nothing like that character, but man, he plays a nut well. And so obviously we have him. We have my guy Jamie Hector, Marlo. Nice seeing him back in Baltimore. I believe he's a New York cat too, but back in Baltimore, but on the opposite side of the Marlo character, working as a homicide detective, and a pretty good one at that, based upon what I saw in these 6 episodes. Somebody else who I recognized, Josh Charles. I knew him, but I couldn't think of who he was. But he was Herschel, who, man, we need to get that guy out the streets. When they gave him 18 years, I was thinking to myself, that ain't enough. For all the stuff, how he been terrorizing people and been on his foolery, he needed more time. 18 years just wasn't enough. That's how I felt. 18 years wasn't enough. Who else did I recognize on here? The Trey Chaney, who also played one of the cops. If you guys remember The Wire, because I do believe that this series is created by the same individual. I think his name is David Simon, but the same individual who made The Wire. And so Pooh from The Wire back as Chaney, I thought that was really nice. Similar, Delaney Williams, who was the police chief. We've seen him in a ton of stuff. I couldn't think off the top of my head what I saw him in last, but you see him in a ton of stuff. They had a pretty good cast, man. They had a pretty good cast. They even brought back Herc from The Wire. I forgot, what was his name on here? Stephen Brady, but Herc from The Wire. And so it's a really good cast. They brought in some really good ones from the original Wire to bring back in here and play roles, as well as bringing in some new people. Because I didn't recognize the guy who played Jernell. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob Brown, who played what's his name, Maurice Ward on the show. That's my guy from Blind Spot. What else is Lady Sif from Marvel, from Thor. She was the lead character, the lady with the tattoos that was on NBC. He was on there. I actually stopped watching that show when his character was removed. Like, I was out. It was the final season. Yeah, these type of things supposed to happen, but when they got rid of him, I was like, yeah, I'm out. So I have no idea how it ended. I watched 4 seasons of the show to see what happened to him, and I was out. But so my thoughts are this. You know what? Hold on. I'm back. So you guys know it's real. You know I like to bring out the props. This is The Wire, the complete series. I still believe this is my favorite show of all time. You see all 5 seasons, got a little wear and tear on it, especially this 5th season. I'd let my aunt hold it. She was holding it a little too long and came back a little wear and tear, but it's all good. But you guys know I like to just show the props so you know it's real with some of these shows, movies, TV, whatever, music. But my thoughts are, it was just sad. Knowing what happened, I liked how they showed and highlighted the corruption, how far back it goes. John Bernthal's character, who was Wayne Jenkins, how could I forget that? So John Bernthal's character, Wayne Jenkins, while obviously he is the main focus of this mini-series, when we see him on a patrol with the guy, with the first guy who was his senior officer, who was taking him out, trying to show him the ropes, and they're doing the stop and frisk, and obviously he came out just wanting to be a good cop, and then unfortunately it goes to show how when you have good intentions, if your foundation is not strong in what you want to do or who you believe you are, you can easily be corrupted. One of the scenes that stuck out to me was Maurice, my guy from Rob Brown from the Blind Spot show, when he was detailing about the rookie who was looking up to Wayne Jenkins and how Wayne was taking him under the wing. And then that point when Wayne and Herschel take him at nighttime and they say, hey, hypothetically, if we go in a house and we see this money, do we take it? And the kid is like, absolutely not. What are you talking about? We're police officers. Our job is to uphold the law. We're not here to steal and stuff. Herschel and Wayne gave each other a look, and then it said that the young kid was moved to another, transferred to another division or whatever, another squad within 2-week period. Why? Because he stood on his morals and didn't allow what was going on to corrupt them. And so the unfortunate thing of what happened to, and again, it's a spoiler thing, but what happened to Jamie Hector's character, as far as while he himself may not have been taking money, because he was in the midst of it, when time came to discuss it, it was too much weight for him as far as having to deal with the repercussion of, while he was not personally involved, and he tried to get out of that unit, moving on to the detective unit, and all implications are that he was not one of the individuals who was partaking. He was not one of the individuals who was trying to scam, or he was trying to rob, or he was trying to do any of that other stuff. But he's complicit because he knew it was happening and did nothing to stop it. And then ultimately, with the wife at home, took his life, and I guess, tried to change it around and make it seem as though someone shot him. And obviously at the end, it was showing how the notes about it looks like he committed suicide, which is what he did, but that, officers still couldn't believe that he did that. So they treated it as still an open homicide case, ongoing. But man, it was just sad because when Rob Brown's character was relaying that back, and it's almost like it clicked in his head at that moment, he realized, crap, I could have just said no. I could have removed myself from that situation, and I'm not sitting where I am discussing this with the FBI. And so I think that realization really hit him at that moment. The amount of corruption, I think two of the worst characters, Wayne Jenkins was horrible, right? Wayne was being Wayne. I think one of the things that bothered me was we see so much police brutality on TV, right? We've seen the Eric Garners, the Mike Browns. We've seen the George Floyds, Freddie Gray. We've seen these different things, right? And when they were showing what was taking place as a result with the rioting, and when Wayne was in the room with the other officers, and he's like, look, this is not right. We're just doing our jobs. I do, at that moment, and I wonder how conflicted some of the officers are who are black, as far as my skin color, and I recognize like these things are real, like, right, the racial profiling, obviously the stop and frisk that was going on just to try to bring up numbers or bring down numbers, however you want to look at that, is going on. But I'm also obligated, because I signed up by putting on this badge, that I am going to stand in camaraderie with my brothers, my sisters in law enforcement. And I'm looking and I'm like, man, two of the worst individuals on here were the black guys. What were their names? Let me make sure I got them right. For Gonzo and Gondo. I'm calling them Gonzo. Gondo and Jamel. And I'm like, man, it's like, it didn't matter. Like, it was all about the money. I'm like, these guys, same as Wayne Jenkins, same as the sergeant. They're all criminals. Herschel, criminals. These guys were criminals who had an opportunity to have a badge. And it's so sad, because throughout the show, you see how the amount of corruption that's taken place, the amount of planting evidence, the amount of stealing stuff from the homes of criminals and all this other stuff. You understand why people have a hard time trusting police. It doesn't mean that all police are bad. No, obviously not. Does it mean that there's some bad police officers out there? 100%. Are there individuals who are trying to do their job, who are trying to really police neighborhoods and get true criminals off of the street? Yes. And people should want that for the safety of their families, their children, so on and so forth. But we also have police who are being corrupt. With the episode where the police officer, where Herschel stopped the black guy, took his $600. That was his actual money from his paycheck that he was using for rent. He had allocated his bills. He's living paycheck to paycheck. His son is in the car as he's being humiliated, disrespected, treated as if he's less than. And then to turn around later when the young lady, and that lady who was the what was her name on here? She is from the Loki show. She was the main security lady at at there, who then turned around and got herself together. What is her name? Why am I not seeing her at the moment? Wunmi Mosaku. I don't want to, I'm sure I'm butchering it, but she played Nicole Steele. She did a great job on here, but that's who she was from the Loki show. But as he's telling her what's happening, I'm like, man, it's just so heartbreaking. Yeah, they're taking this money and you think it doesn't hurt anybody, and you don't recognize what's come of it and what's happening as a result. How I believe it said he lost his job. All these things that took place as a result of, and it was just sad, man. I didn't walk away. I did not love it like I loved The Wire. I thought it was a pretty good miniseries, the 6 episodes. I thought it was sufficient to paint a light and show that even with getting these police, how much the police, when Wayne Jenkins, John Bernthal's character, was saying after he got wind about the lawyer saying how the cases keep getting thrown out and nobody wants to really work with them, he's like, look, I'm just going to transfer divisions. And the the female cop, the Asian lady who was in a higher rank than him, kept saying, no, we need you. You took a vacation for a week, 2 weeks, and it's like crime just skyrocketed without you. And he was so empowered by the police department because all they're looking at is a number. He was so empowered by the police department, by his superiors, that I believe they just turned a blind eye to stuff. It didn't matter what the rumors were. It didn't matter. And it kind of reminds me of the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire in 1998. You mean to tell me that the commissioner, that the owners of those ball clubs, the managers, other players, that everyone was not aware, or at least had some inkling of what was going on with the juicing and stuff like that, and all these other people, right? But baseball was so popular in that moment, and obviously baseball, while once upon a time was a super popular sport, is not extremely popular now amongst people. But for the home runs and the hits and the out the ballpark they were doing, it was bringing a lot of eyes to baseball. And I feel like a lot of people turned a blind eye to that. And it goes to show, sometimes you look at entertainers, and sometimes entertainers could be jerks. They could be absolutely horrible, but people will put up with them because they're making them money. And people will put up with them and their behavior as long as they continue to provide for them. But the moment you're no longer able to do that, and your true character is what is being on display minus the benefit of what you bring, people show you what they really think of you. You look at how Allen Iverson was treated on the way out, right? People mock the practice thing, but it goes to show that some things, the moment people no longer think you can do it, there's certain NBA players who still have careers and are able to learn to change and develop new things, and others are like, nope, you can't do this anymore, you're out. I watched part of it. I'll probably do a video for it, the Irv Gotti. But you look at him and you see, man, he probably was a jerk to a lot of people. Dame Dash is probably a jerk to a lot of people, right? You watch the Drink Champs and you see these things. And while they made people a lot of money, the moment there was any type of inkling, as Murder Inc. had with the trial and stuff like that, people are like washing their hands of them. Why? Because on the way up, they weren't great people. And I don't feel bad for the police officers in this regard. One of the things that they're supposed to be doing is the upholding of the law. One of the things they're supposed to do, even without that, is the policing in the neighborhoods. I do think, in Wayne's own weird way, he thought he was doing that while still trying to do what he wanted to do, right? He was rogue. It's disappointing. Really, that's what it comes down to. It's very disappointing as a whole. The police corruption, the city corruption, the city crime. Everyone is aware of it. Everyone sees all these things. Nobody does anything about it. Instead, they enable it. You're paying overtime to individuals who are out here just living recklessly and wild, openly doing it. People paying overtime. I think they said Wayne was in vacation for 2 weeks and got over 80 hours of overtime. That's crazy. Like, there's no checks and balances. There's no accountability. It's just sad. And then obviously the notes were saying that, but this show was cool. Definitely disheartening and sad to see, but obviously it's what happens, right? But what are your thoughts? You let me know. I feel like I've talked too long on it, but you guys let me know what your thoughts are. How did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Will you compare it to The Wire? Is this its own thing to you? As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed, productive, stress-free day, weekday, weekend, whenever you're listening, however you're listening. I thank you for listening. Till next time. I do want to say, so this is new, but this is the outro. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I thank you guys for sticking out to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Stick around for some of the other content that you see up right now. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed, productive, stress-free day. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post bell notifications so that way you don't miss any of this amazing content. Share, share, share.